So hello, in this video we are going to discuss structure and function of an ecosystem. So we have already learned what are the two basic categories, what are the basic things of ecosystem. So here we are getting into the lesson, that is the main first topic of the lesson, that is the structure and function of an ecosystem. So there it is we also know that the various components of environment, that is biotic and abiotic. So when we know what is abiotic and biotic, so we have deeply discussed it about, but now when we go through the flow of energy, so within the abiotic and biotic components, the flow of the energy in these components or these components of the ecosystem. So when the interaction of biotic and abiotic components, they result in a physical structure, that is it gives out a characteristics for each type of ecosystem. So for each type of ecosystem, when there is an interaction between the biotic and abiotic components, it results in a physical structure, that is there an identification and enumeration takes place, that is of plant, it may be of plant species or animal species of an ecosystem. So it gives out its species composition. So species composition of an animal or plant is identified or enumerated when the interaction of the biotic and abiotic components takes place. So when we take the vertical distribution of the different species, so it occupies the different levels. We know that every level every species or every organism occupies a particular level in the environment or particular level in the ecosystem. So we know that when we discuss the vertical distribution, every different species occupy every different levels. So this is called as stratification. That is, for example, if you take a tree, it takes the top layer, and shrubs it takes the second, and herbs and grasses it takes the bottom layer. So for further example, like if you take grass, then it takes the bottom, then grasshopper, then frog, then snake. So in this, if you take these four species, then the snake will be the top, the grass will be taking its bottom place. So this vertical distribution of different species which is occupying the different levels, we call it as stratification, and an example has been already explained. So the components of an ecosystem, so they function as a unit. So when we consider the following aspects like productivity, decomposition, energy flow and nutrient cycling. So when we discuss about or when we take these four aspects into consideration, we can identify that the components, so that is the abiotic and biotic components of the ecosystem, they function as a unit. So the next is, if we need to understand or if we need to get through the ethos of an aquatic system, we can take a small pond as an example. So why we are taking pond? Because it is a self-sustainable unit. Rather, we know that the most complex interactions that takes place in the aquatic ecosystem can be explained easily here. That is, the complex interactions which can take place in aquatic system takes place in the pond also, and it is a self-sustainable unit. When we take, this is a fairly self-sustainable unit. So the since the complex interactions are found in an ecosystem, we can completely study the ethos of an ecosystem with the example of a pond. So when we take a pond, we know it is a shallow water body. So all the four basic components, that is the productivity, decomposition, energy flow and nutrient cycling, are well exhibited here. So the four basic components are, we already learned that all the complex interactions exist in this pond. So then all the four basic components will also be well exhibited here. So when we take the abiotic component, so the abiotic component in the pond is water. So with the water, it consists of dissolved inorganic and organic substances. it will have some rich soil deposits which is at the bottom. So organic substances will be there, inorganic substances also will be there, and the rich soil deposits. So the deposits of the soil will be very rich, and at the very bottom of the pond they deposit there. So this is the abiotic component. So the next abiotic component is we all know that the solar input is the solar inputs the cycle of temperature, day length, and the climatic changes. So the rate of function, the rate of function is regulated by the solar input, cycle of temperature, day length. So the complete day of the time until it reaches the night, and the climatic condition of the particular area. So these regulates the rate of function of the entire pond. So when we discuss about the autotrophic components, that is when we discuss about autotrophic, it may be phytoplankton, some algae. So plants, it may be floating, submerged, and marginal plants. So it may, the plants may be of three. Maybe it may be floating over the surface, it may be submerged, or it may be marginal. So here the consumers, so the consumers are represented by the zooplankton. So the free swimming and bottom dwelling forms are these zooplankton. So it is a very common thing that what all are the decomposers are. The decomposers are nothing but bacteria, fungi, and flagellates. That is, they are also at the bottom of the pond. So already we have discussed that the rich soil deposit is also at the bottom of the pond. So when we take that this system, so this we know that the ecosystem of an pond performs all functions of any ecosystem. All functions of any ecosystem can be seen in this pond. And the conversion of organic material to inorganic, so inorganic material to organic material also takes place. That is the radiant energy which is given out by the sun by the autotrophs. So with the help of the sun, here with the help of the radiant energy of the sun by the autotrophs, the autotrophs convert inorganic to organic materials. So here the autotrophs, the heterotrophs consume the autotrophs. So the consumption of autotrophs by heterotrophs takes place. The decomposition and mineralization of dead matter also takes place. That is, they are released back into for reuse by the autotrophs. So that they are, after this decomposition and mineralization, they are released back for reuse by the autotrophs. So these events repeat over again and again. So when these events repeat again and again, there is a unidirectional movement of energy towards the higher trophic levels. So and its dissipation and loss as heat to the environment. So in the next video we will deal with the topic productivity. Stay tuned to my videos. Thank you.